Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Irina, a visual artist, and today I've got something super fun for you. I'll show you how to draw this cute and simple kitty mask illustration step by step. Next, here's the color palette I'll be using through the tutorial. For the sketch, I'm using the recycled paper brush at 3% size and about 80% opacity, but feel free to use any pencil that you like. Start with a rough circle and then tap one finger on the screen without lifting your pencil to snap it into a perfect circle. Now, I'll draw a second one and connect them with two curved lines to create a sort of a bean shape. If you need to reposition your sketch, go ahead and do that. Let's refine the outline a little bit, and then it's time for some cute little kitty ears. Just a couple of triangles on top will do the trick. And then I'll sketch in two simple semi-oval eyes, a tiny nose, and maybe a hint of the patches we'll color later. And that's it, the sketch is done. Now, I lower the opacity of the sketch layer so it doesn't distract us when we start coloring. You can rename the layer if you want. It's definitely helpful for staying organized, even though I always forget. Then, create a new layer underneath the sketch. Before we move on, let's take a minute to create a custom fluffy fur brush. Trust me, it's super quick and easy. Go to the organic brush library and choose the swordgrass brush. It's originally meant for drawing grass, but with a few tweaks it makes an amazing fur brush. Tap on it to open the brush settings. First, head to Color Dynamics and turn everything down to 0. This will keep the color solid and consistent while you draw. Next, head over to Stroke Pad. Increase the spacing to 18% and set the jitter to about 20%. That gives the brush a softer, more scattered feel, kind of like fur. And that's it! You now have your own fluffy fur brush. Easy, right? Alright, let's jump back into our drawing. First, grab the new fluffy brush we just created. Now, select this dark yellow color. You'll see the hex code and the brush name on the screen so you can match everything exactly. I'm setting the brush size to about 6% and I'll keep the opacity at 100% so we get full solid coverage for the base shape. Start by carefully tracing the outline of the mask. Take your time with this, the fluffy brush gives a nice soft texture so even if your lines aren't perfectly smooth, they'll still look great. Once you've outlined the whole mask, you can drag and drop the color inside to fill the shape. And if you see white gaps after filling, don't worry. Just hold your pencil down and drag it right to raise the color drop threshold. It will fill right up to your lines. It might take a bit of practice, but it makes a big difference. Next, we're going to draw the ears. Create a new layer underneath the mask layer and using the same dark yellow, draw the left ear. Now, for the right ear, create another layer and switch it to a dark gray. This contrast will make things more visually interesting and we're already starting to build this adorable calico look. Okay, now let's move on to the fun part, adding patches and markings to bring more personality to the mask. Create a new layer above the mask and tap it once to select clipping mask. This means anything you draw on this layer will stay within the shape of the mask underneath, so no need to stress about coloring inside the lines. It keeps everything nice and clean. Using the same dark gray, I am adding a large patch on the right side of the mask. The trick here is to make it as imperfect as possible to make it look natural. This already adds a bit of character, but let's go a step further. create another clipping mask layer on top of the previous one, and this time pick white from the palette. I'm going to add a big white patch in the lower part of the mask to balance out the colors. This helps give our kitty mask that calico cat vibe. And let's be honest, calicos are some of the cutest cats out there. Now I'm going to go back to the grey patch layer and use the same color to add a smaller detail, maybe a little spot or two near the top. Cats often have these quirky markings, and this makes our design feel more natural and playful. You can really start to see it coming to life now, right? Let's move on to the ears again. Create a new layer on top of the ears and choose a soft pink from your palette. I'm going back to the recycled paper brush for this, since it gives a nice soft edge, perfect for gentle details like this. Use it to draw the inner part of both ears. Just a soft triangle shape inside each ear will do. It adds a cute touch and makes the ears feel more finished. Next up, let's draw the nose. Create a new layer just underneath the sketcher layer, and again with the recycled paper brush use the same soft pink to draw a small heart shape in the center. That's going to be our kitty's nose, super simple but super sweet. Now we'll draw the band of the mask, you know, that part that would actually hold it on your face. Create another new layer underneath everything, even under the ears and the main mask, and switch back to the dark gray. Draw a horizontal strip across both sides, connecting behind the mask to give the illusion of a headband. Looking good? Awesome, we're almost done. At this point, we no longer need the sketch layer, so go ahead and delete it or just turn it off if you want to use it later. Alpha lock your layer so shading stays inside the shapes. 2-finger swipe right or tap the layer menu to enable. Head over to my Sparkles brush set. If you don't have it yet, don't worry, I've left a free download link in the video description. These brushes are totally free and honestly pretty awesome if I do say so myself. Grab my dotty texture brush, pick the lighter yellow, 70% size, opacity 60 to 70%, and gently dab the brush into the yellow side of the mask to add a soft dotty texture. This gives it a bit more life and dimension without overpowering the base color. Use the same color and brush to add texture to the left ear as well. Then switch to this gray for the right ear and repeat the process, tapping to build up some shading and volume. Let's do the same on the gray patch of the mask, just to make it feel a bit more dynamic. For the white patch, I'm picking a very light gray instead. This helps add subtle shading without making it look muddy. Same tapping motion, same brush. Oh, and fun fact, this brush is amazing for painting realistic trees or broccoli. And no, I'm not just saying that because I made it. Now, let's switch to a darker gray. Define a few more areas and then we're ready to move on to the smaller details of the face. Alright, time to bring this little kitty mask to life with some shading and final details. Let's start with the inner part of the ears. I'm going to use the recycled paper brush again. It's my go-to because it gives such a nice soft texture. Add darker pink to the ear's base and corners for depth. Then outline with lighter pink for a soft highlight and contrast. Now let's move on to the nose layer. With a smaller brush, draw a tiny vertical line down the center of the nose and then add a tiny curve on each side to suggest the nostrils. Keep it light and simple, we're just hinting at these details, not making them too defined. Once that's done, jump over to the mask band layer, the one behind the head, and choose a light gray from the palette. With a soft brush, gentle brush in some highlights along the top of the band and maybe just a touch on the edges. It will give the impression of a slight sheen of fabric catching the light. Okay, now for the eyes and whiskers, the part that really gives the mask its personality. On a new layer, grab the drawing brush. It has a nice clean edge, perfect for this kind of detail. Pick an almost black-gray and draw in two simple semi-oval shapes for the eyes. You can keep them wide and friendly or slightly angled for a bit of an attitude, totally up to you. Next up, whiskers. Choose a very light pink and with a dry ink or any fine liner brush, draw 3 straight lines fanning out from one cheek. To quickly duplicate them for the other side, use the selection tool, select the whiskers, then swipe 3 fingers down to bring up the copy-paste menu. That's my favorite shortcut. Paste the lines, then flip them horizontally and move them to the other cheek. When you're happy with the placement, pinch the 2 whisker layers together to merge them. Now that we've got all the core features in place, let's add some soft shading around the face to make everything feel more grounded. Create a new layer under the nose and set it to multiply mode. This will make the colors you paint with appear darker and blend more naturally. Grab a medium gray and go back to the recycled paper brush, this time with a smaller size. Start adding gentle shadows under the whiskers, around the base of the nose, beneath the eyes, and under the ear contours. Take your time with this step. Subtle shading really adds a lot of dimension to the face and makes all the features pop just a little more. With the same brush, lower the size to around 5% and add a few tiny dots near the muzzle for that extra little cat-like detail. Then add a small curved line underneath the nose to suggest a simple sweet mouth. Now let's ground the whole mask with a soft shadow on the background. Create a new layer underneath everything, all the way at the bottom, and use the same gray and brush. Increase the brush size and gently tap or stroke around the base of the mask to create a soft, diffused shadow. This gives the whole piece a sense of space and makes it feel more complete. And just like that, we're done! You've got a cute texture, fluffy kitty mask illustration, complete with custom brushes, layer shading, and lots of personality. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial all the way to the end. I really hope you enjoyed it and pick up some new tips along the way. If you did, feel free to give it a like, leave a comment, or subscribe for more Procreate tutorials. I'll see you again very soon with a new video. Bye for now!